boom, boom. We're on British Bears, coming to you from another land. The British Bears Show, another kind of fan. Bears fans all day, Bears fans all night, 365 days, 5,000 miles away. Hey, hey, hey! The British Bears, the Irish Bears, the German Bears, the Polish Bears. Wait, what?
Welcome to the British Bears Show. And now your hosts, C-Dub and Jason UK Bears.
Well, hello and welcome to the British Bears. As you might have noticed, I'm a man down, man. I'm a man down. Jason's on his honeymoon this week. He'll be away for the next couple of weeks. So I was thinking, well, what can I do? Because I don't think the audience wants to watch a short, slow-witted, middle-aged Yorkshire guy talk about the Chicago Bears on his own. So what I've decided to do is give you people a really, really big treat. From the other side of the pond, we've got Foster from BCP, fellow host, and the man who they call the Podfather, Aldo Gandia. So can you join me, gentlemen, please?
Foster's hiding. There he is. He's coming. There he is. How are you guys, Chris? Foster, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great, mate. It's like I said before the show, this is like quite surreal that you're on my show. And like I'm going to tell you beforehand, without sort of randomly coming over the video and you and Dan doing a bay or so. We just did, I'd never heard of the channel, saw that and thought, yeah, I want to see more from this channel, see what it sounds like. Enjoyed all the rest of the shows, and then, wow, you just get sucked in. I just want to thank you, Aldo, for giving me the opportunity to come on the especially for the first 2 years when I've tried to do it on a mobile phone, and there were always no pitch. So I'm glad you all had a bit of patience. But yeah, I know that you're starting off a lot of people in the podcasting world, and people have gone into professional jobs as well. So I just want to thank you, man. As English, we don't get too sort of emotionally public. So that's about as good as it fucking goes, man. It really is. But, love that you're on the show, and yeah, let's just say it's been eventful for the last couple of weeks. So next to the next gentleman, who's next to me, Foster, how are you, mate?
Hanging in, man. I woke up today.
I wouldn't dare want to go, you know what, it's been fucking great. I'm doing brilliant.
I'm not going to lie. I'm hanging in, dude. Everything's okay. Could be worse. Could be better. It just is what it is. But you know what?
We're here.
Shit may be fatal, but at least it's not serious.
That's good. I was thinking, keep it light, Foster. Keep it light, mate.
Somebody was saying the other day, do you think you'll die soon? I said, God ain't gonna let me off that easy.
Yeah, really.
So, and I've been here for like 700 years anyway. So what's another couple hundred, dude?
So what we'll do is then, obviously we'll go through the loss of Detroit. The final score, 52-20 to the Lions. And we always start off with the offense. Caleb Williams, he got 19 out of 30 for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. And he was taken off later on. Aldo, what were your sort of initial thoughts about the offense?
They're still a work in progress, clearly. And, Ben Johnson has to do a little better job scheming and getting certain players involved. Those players who are not involved as much have to prove to Ben Johnson that they deserve to be on the field. In yesterday's press conference, Ben Johnson, when asked about Colston Loveland and Luther Burden, said something very telling towards the end of his soundbite. He says, we'll see how they practice and see who deserves to get out there. So that might have been kind of a hint as that he's not totally happy with some of their action. In fact, he explicitly said that some of these guys, when they don't have the ball, what we saw on tape is that they weren't working as hard as they should. Right. And so that's telling. So,
Aldo, do you think that stems from last year's culture? Because obviously it's quite a number of the team who come through, with Ben Johnson, they've been on the team for the last couple of years. Do you think could be somewhat stemmed over from the culture of the last 2 years at the Bears?
It could. I can't say for sure. Obviously, if he was making a direct reference to the 2 rookies, obviously they weren't here last year, but the culture of, perhaps being not 100% in existed last year. And so some of that may have permeated. I've heard some of the veterans say great things about this coaching staff, and I've heard some of the veterans not sound as excited about it. Maybe that's part of how they present themselves, but everybody has to buy in. Everyone has to buy in, and I think that's part of the problem with the offense. So you could pick any unit of the offense: offensive line, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, the quarterback, of course, and they're just not playing as well as they should. And some of these guys might have to go because they weren't here. They were selected before Ben Johnson was head coach. And so this rebuild of the rebuild might last another year or two. We'll see.
Yeah. Go on, Foster.
I agree with you, Aldo. I always say this. The last 10 years I've been saying this. This is the real preseason because none of these guys on the offense played one snap together. Every one of them, none of them played one snap together.
Yeah.
And then most of them played 2 or 3 quarters together at the most.
Yeah.
So, how do you gain any continuity? I know they're working all summer and in preseason, but it's not the same thing as playing in a game. And anybody who's played in a game knows practice is not the same as a game.
Absolutely.
You can practice 24/7 and get your timing right and everything right. It's still not going to be the same as a game. What I like, because I'm still seeing this, is he's demanding that perfection, and we haven't shown much of it. Things have not been in sync. Another thing, and I got to just throw this in there because I'm really ticked that. Again, I go back to this every year. There's too many critical times I've seen in both games where the referees made some terrible calls. Terrible.
They have.
They missed terrible calls that cost the Bears first downs and 10 or 20 yards a couple times too in this last game.
Yeah.
I agree with you too, but I always hate that, thinking that we lost due to the refs. Some more stats from the offenses. Swifty rushed he had 12 carries, 63 yards, a touchdown and a fumble. Magonwai had 7 for 28 yards. Caleb Williams, he rushed for 5 for 27 yards. What are your thoughts about the rushing game? Because this has been a bit of a thing for me, just due to the lack of depth, the lack of actual productivity in the first couple of games. What do you think? Do you think it's down to the offensive line not quite gelling yet, or do you think it's the running backs themselves, or even the scheme?
I think it's the offensive line, to be honest with you. You know, the interior, one of the biggest disappointments so far through 2 games has been the interior of the offensive line. They didn't play well against the Vikings. They didn't play much better, if at all better, against the Lions. And so, yes, it's important to get the play action to work in Ben Johnson's scheme, and it works better if you're gaining 4, 5, 6 yards on runs. And there was that first drive for the touchdown, DeAndre Swift looked like he was going to have a 100-yard rushing day. That was perfectly played. The running game was perfectly played. I actually went back in preparation for a show tonight and looked at the tape, the all 22 from that first drive, and everybody in the offensive line was pulling their weight. Even Braxton Jones was. And one particular play, if you go back and see a big run by DeAndre Swift, Braxton Jones blocked 3 guys. He blocked his guy, and then he got help from the left guard, Tooney, and then 2 guys were coming around, and he was able to get a shoulder, and there was a beautiful lane for DeAndre Swift to – but they didn't sustain that for 4 quarters, that type of blocking. Now, you got to give the Lions credit. You know, they got, Aiden Hutchinson is a beast. He is a beast. And so you're not going to have 100% success against them, even if you're a Pro Bowl player. But I think they wore down the Bears offensive line. They outsmarted the Bears offensive line. And now we have to be a little bit worried about Dennis Allen. Are his prime years as a defensive coordinator, are those, I know I'm switching around here. I apologize, but Dennis Allen, are his prime years as defensive coordinator? Are those years past him? And so we have to be concerned a little bit about that. But I apologize for rambling.
No, not at all.
You got to remember, you're on BCP. That's what we do.
Well, I also wanted to ask you, Aldo, is what's been your impressions of the new pieces on the offensive line, which you got this year?
Yeah, when they acquired Drew Dahlman, if you did the research on him, you knew that he was not really a top 5 offensive center in the league, but he was young enough to grow into being a top 5. What he was well known for is his intelligence and being able to, play in different schemes and call out the plays and take pressure off of Justin. But as a player himself, he gets manhandled from time to time. And so at 25, 26 years old, there's room for improvement. So we'll see. And then Tooney is a Pro Bowl guard, but his best years are behind him too, and that doesn't mean that he's not going to play at a Pro Bowl level this season and next for the Chicago Bears. But he could be on the other side of his career and starting to slow down. And then the right guard, Jonah Jackson, I was suspect of that acquisition from the start, so he's going to have to really improve to impress me.
Well, your thoughts, Foster?
You know what? I was kind of sending this to Twitter, so I only saw bits and pieces.
It was all about you anyway, mate.
I'm producing 2 here at the same time, so I apologize.
And you're doing a hell of a job.
My sort of biggest concern is the new right guard. I mean, he's been noticeably bad. Even if you just watch on TV, where usually, unless you intentionally are watching it live and sort of do the job, and then you move on where the camera goes. But he's been noticeably terrible. It's just like a cowboy saloon door. Every time you see him, he's just basically always looking back at the quarterback, and he doesn't seem to be improving as well. And obviously, with a lot of the pre-snap penalties being given away, it's right, jumping a few times. I think perhaps the Jones not played that bad, To be honest with you, not how Paul.
Chris, let me jump in just before we leave the topic of Jackson. Let's remember that when he played well, he was at the left guard position for the Detroit Lions. Then he's traded to the Rams. They try to move him to center. He gets injured, and they find out during that injury that the backup center was playing better than him. So they had so much money invested in Jackson, they moved him to the right guard position. Now he claims he plays as well on either guard position. But if you study the tape, he was much better as a left guard, but we got Tooney there. So we're stuck with him at right guard. And, we can jump into another topic. Why extend the guy? Why extend his contract?
I want to touch that topic. So he was playing right guard originally with Detroit.
Left guard is what I understood.
What?
I understood it. He started at the left guard position.
Okay, well then maybe he got moved because I've got film of him at right guard in Detroit.
Oh, really? Okay.
And
Maybe
then,
I'm wrong.
And what we did was we went over all his games, and his best game he ever played was last year at right guard against Seattle. He had a killer game.
Okay.
That's why I honestly thought this was going to be an okay move. And this is just what I've seen. It doesn't mean I'm right.
Sure.
Just what I've seen.
Yeah.
And you're not going to move Tooney. Why would you move Tooney?
Like
any way, shape, or form, that's where the guy belongs. That's his spot. Any team he'd be on, that's where he should be playing.
Yep, indeed.
I thought Jonah was gonna fare better, and he's looked terrible. He's just looked
terrible.
And PJ and I on every Thursday for 2.5 years, man, we go right to interior offensive line because it's been the problem for 5 seasons now.
Yes.
And did we fix it again? Because we ask this every year. Did we fix it? It looks better.
I mean, it's like one of my sort of thoughts about the entire squad. It's one of the reasons why we have these, we're having lack of successes at this year, is that we do have like a squad of average players. How many Pro Bowl players did we produce last year? Do you know what I mean? And I know that sounds a bit flippant, but I don't mean it like that. Obviously we have got some excellent players, but when one of the Detroit game, we were sort of neck and neck with them, and then they sort of got to like the third quarter, and we had mistakes, and they just went on accelerator mode. But it just proves that they've still got a really talented actual squad of players. I'm not out of part of the gang going, oh well, they've got a brain drain now, like they've lost 2 coordinators, so that Dan Campbell's just the rah-rah guy, and now we're all into all that sort of thing, which I'm trying not to do. I'm trying not to fall in the future. I'm desperately going to try not to fall into like the off-season hype train. I get sucked in every year. I get absolutely, and yet I think that's why a lot of people were so sort of pissed off after the first game last week, because you're just sort of so invested into it. But yeah, it's just worrying. It's just worrying, like the rushing game as well. It just worries me that we haven't got any depth. We don't have much difference in style. Swift is like more of an outside runner and not between the tackles. And I thought that's why they would have used a rookie a lot more, because from his tape at college, one of these guys could just bounce off and could run really well between the tackles. But yeah, it's just yet again, Paul's ex-offensive lineman as a GM ain't got the offensive line sorted out fully for another fucking season.
Yeah. The thing with Poles is he's drafted offensive linemen who were like him. Smart, quiet, and don't have a killer instinct. They too cerebral. And, so you look at Karan Amigaje, the guy looks like, it reminds me a lot of Ryan Poles' NFL career, kind of a big guy who's doesn't have that killer spirit and stuff. So that's a problem, and I was hoping that Ben Johnson would come in here and help to change that. But, it is Poles' job first and foremost to acquire the talent for this. So he's going to have to, if he's not, he's going to have to listen to more of the coaching staff and the selection of players, particularly in the offensive line, because we need to get meaner and grittier up front and defensive line too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that showed with Poles, like when they were on the Hard Knocks last season, when he just can't let go of players who are sort of always on the the edge of being a practice squad player or cut. And he needs to sort of, instead of like trying to be the smartest guy in the room and get somebody from Yale, just go to the obvious places like the SEC. And the big powerhouses like LSU and Alabama, you guaranteed getting somebody from that area of college football. Mm-hmm. But we'll move on to the receivers, man. Roma Dunze had a bit of a game. He was 7 for 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore got 5 catches, 46 yards. And Cole Kmet got 229. What are your thoughts about the receiving core out there?
Well,
what did you press?
It did it way late. It was supposed to do it right after you were done.
That was excellent.
Sorry.
Not the right side, mate.
Nonetheless, it was pretty cool. Anyway, Maddie sent me something. He's in the chat right now. He sent me a DM, letting me know that Rome Odunze now leads the NFL among all wide receivers. So touchdown receptions or is tied for the lead or whatever it is. Rome Odunze is playing as I expected, and we should all be lucky that we have him. You could look back on that draft pick and say we should have invested in an offensive or defensive line. Yes, but Rome Odunze is going to be a star in this league. Yeah. He's going to be a star. And so, he was hard to bypass. You can question, that pick, but the fact of the matter is that this is going to be one of the prize acquisitions from Ryan Poles' drafts here in Chicago. Long after he is gone as general manager of the Bears, we'll be talking about Rome Odunze and the star that he is. As for the other receivers, we need to get Luther Burden more involved. We need to get DJ Moore more involved, and not in that order. DJ should be second, and Luther should be third. And Zacchaeus, who had a fantastic preseason and knows this offense, he's kind of a genius savant in how he applies his thinking to what the coaches are teaching him and what he sees out in the field, which is one of the reasons he gets open so often. And so we just need to use those wide receiver weapons more often. And of course, that all starts with the offensive line. Give the quarterback some time, and he's got to make some quicker decisions from time to time.
I've just realized, though, I've not asked either of you two gentlemen about Caleb Williams. I've just realized, obviously, Foster, fire away and tell me your thoughts about Caleb's performance last Sunday.
Well, let me go back to this because I just want to touch on this. What Aldo brought up. We know at least from what I see, we've got weapons, and I'm just going to name the guys that we know. We know we've got DJ Moore. We know we've got Odunze with what we've seen him do just in the first 2 weeks here and last season. Cole Kmet has not been being used properly for the last year, I'll say. He could get more yards. Look at every time there's something key where he shows up. So, those guys right there got to be extremely more involved in this offense because they know they've been with this team for 2 or plus seasons. Mm-hmm. Burden and what's his name, the tight end?
Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet,
yeah. Loveland and Burden are new, so I'm not going to expect as much of them out of them immediately. But we definitely got, and Olamides is another name too, because when we got him, I was like, that's a great signing in my mind. I had him last year on my fantasy. I was watching what that guy was capable of, and he was capable of much more than they did with him in Washington. I'm serious. He could be a number 2 on a lot of teams or a great slot receiver.
I agree.
The guy can play all the positions. But I think that's critical. Now we'll get to Caleb. it appears that that his accuracy is a problem. Now, some of the plays I've looked at on the All 22, not from this game, but from going back to that Minnesota game, there's a couple of those throws, and I think there was 11 of them. I think there was literally 11 throws that looked like they were overthrown. Guaranteed 10. 2 of those for sure, I could throw them out the window. That they were not going to be completed. The receivers were covered. But now the other, let's say the other 8, I'm lost that the accuracy just disappeared. And I said this during the game. We were joking. I said, man, it looks like Caleb needs some of Shorty's gummies during the game. He seems so overhyped.
Yeah.
And he can't slow down to make the pass proper. And I don't know if I'm seeing it right. That's just an opinion that I saw. Is he capable? It appears that he's capable. But if you don't got the right mentality and you're not doing this, I don't care how much talent you have. We know the story. We know what happens. I'm not saying he's terrible, but we know what can happen.
Yeah, Foster, I agree with what you're saying there. That we know that the kid has phenomenal talent. He can do things athletically that a lot of other quarterbacks in this league cannot do. His mobility, his arm strength, and so forth. The thing that I see is wrong with this kid is that his mind is just firing 150%. So I think that's what's leading to the accuracy problems. That's what's leading to the throwing to the wrong receiver, not throwing to an open receiver. All of the issues that I think that are happening with Caleb have more to do with what's going on inside his head than anything else. And so I think Ben, Johnson needs to kind of take that. Foster knows what I'm talking about here because he's followed the Chicago Bulls during the Phil Jackson era. And Phil Jackson, brought in that Zen mentality for the players so that they could focus and be in the moment. If Caleb is thinking too much of the pass rush, because you got to trust the pass rush, even if you're going to get killed out there. He's thinking too much about other stuff. He's got to block all that out and be a Zen quarterback and get it done. Yes, exactly, Foster.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think there's a lot going on in that young man's head. I think he improved this week compared to when he played against the Vikings. He seemed to be a lot more consistent. That first drive were awesome. It was such cause obviously Detroit scored on their first drive offensively, and it was great to answer straight back. We do seem to do really well when it seems to be on the sort of initial scripted plays. We seem to be very sort of slick, and then things seem to slide a bit when we're getting deeper into the game. But I'm just more like you just got to believe in the process and just give things. I wasn't expecting us to be like as good as Detroit's offense last year straight away. That just doesn't happen. It's not only the scheme, but it's the quality of the players they've got as well. And that was proven on Sunday night, the gap between their player talent compared to what we had on average throughout our squad. But, it was so disappointing, man. It was so disappointing. And also as well, I'd love to get your guys' opinions on, can Coach Johnson stop going on 4th downs? Because we're not getting them at all. Why don't we not concentrate getting on the 1st down first instead of doing that twice? And that really niffed me. I know it seems to be like the new vogue of the NFL to go, even if it's 4th and 5, we'll go for it. That's how it is in the NFL. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that you've got to prove that you can have a good offense, a productive offense on 1st down, 2nd down, and 3rd down before you start risking 4th down plays. And the Bears aren't there yet. This was Dan Aguirre and I went to Dan Campbell's first game coaching at Soldier Field, and we were laughing at the times that Dan Campbell would go for it on 4th down because that offense didn't deserve to try it on first down. The Bears ended up winning that game because of Dan Campbell's decisions to go on 4th down. And I think Ben Johnson is duplicating those same mistakes, particularly when you have the opportunity to get 3 points. You go for the points. You go for the points because you cannot trust your offense to pick up the fourth down. You can't, not at this point of your coaching career and this offense's career. No.
Absolutely, man. I said it. I'm sitting here watching the game by myself, and I'm yelling at the TV. What the F are you going? Why are you going for this? Take the points.
Yes.
Put them away. We were up.
Foster and I, old
points to the
school,
scoreboard.
Yes, old school, Foster, old school, baby.
Well, although we've been watching the same crap since like 1970.
Yeah.
So I mean, we know how hard it can be being a Bears fan. You take out about 8 or 10 seasons in the last 45 years.
Yep.
It's been crap, and we're just tired of it.
Yeah.
So, like exactly what you said, though, Aldo. We're not ready to be going for it on 4th and 4, 4th and 3. I can see occasionally on 4th and 1, even the second time, man. I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? We're not there. That's next year's stuff, man. Let's score points because we're still not scoring 20 points a game.
Yes.
And we're giving up more than 20.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it also seemed to me like a bit arrogant by the coach. Just because they're in Detroit and obviously he was there as a coach, and maybe like a bit of an arrogant sort of, well, I can do this sort of thing. But yeah, it wasn't good. But yeah, let's crack on to the defense, because I know we've only got you for a short while, haven't we, Aldo? So
I'll go as long as you need me, guys.
All right, cool, because we usually go, longest we've gone is an hour and 20 minutes, because I can't count and get bored of everybody.
Yeah, no, you got that show on Sunday. It takes a lot out of you.
Well, two shows a week, you know what I mean? It takes a lot to look like this.
Chris, I do want to comment real quickly on you saying there's an arrogance there with Ben Johnson. I 100% agree. He is arrogant, and he starts talking shit about Matt LaFleur and his opening press and stuff. And so there is that, and he needs to be careful with that, because this is – it's almost like, my analogy is, it's almost like bringing up a kid. If coaching a team is like bringing up a kid. You want your kid to go out there and kick ass, but studies, sports, whatever. But you also got to tell that kid, be a little humble. Don't go for it on first down, Billy. Fourth down, don't go for it. And Ben is maybe too aggressive at time. I agree with you, Chris.
I just found it, a bit sort of, a bit of an arrogant and not really sort of a good sort of game management decision. I mean, I don't know if that's one thing. What I wouldn't say struggle, but obviously now he's the head coach, he's got to think about the defensive side of the game, and that's something what he completely couldn't handle. What sort of switching onto his offensive mind and all that sort of thing, making terrible game decisions. But we'll move on to the defense. I'll just go through a few stats. Brisker, he got 7 tackles, 2 assists. Edmonds got 6 tackles, 1 assist, and Stevenson got 5 tackles with 2 assists. What were your initial thoughts about the D? Because I just thought we really didn't get enough pressure on him, really. What we needed. What were your guys' thoughts?
Go ahead, Foster.
Definitely not enough pressure. Some of the scheming I didn't get as far as defensively on certain plays. It was like, why did he stop there? Why did Jalen Johnson stop there and let the linebacker cover a guy that's faster, and he took the running back or the tight end? So I some of that it's got to be schemed up right. My other thing, are we sure we've got the depth and the talent on this defense? Because I thought it was good. I thought we'd be okay. I know we could have used a little more power inside and maybe another defensive end. But looking at it like everybody else, I'm going, man, we should be fine in the defensive backfield. Now we've got a problem with that because Jalen's out. It just got messy, and they got burnt out. They got burnt out because they're on the field. When you're on the field for 13 minutes out of 15, you're gonna have a problem.
Yep.
But I just thought that Dennis Allen, it was going to take the burden off of Johnson, not even having to worry about the defense, because now you've got a head coach who's a defensive guy running the defense. So I just thought, all right, defense is going to be okay. if we stay to where we've been, giving up less than 20 points or 20 points or less, we should be in good shape. But it just seems between the injuries and some of the scheming, and I could be wrong, injuries, scheme, and personnel, still a problem.
Be a part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the defense had some good moments. You look back at the Detroit Lions game. The first series obviously was not good. The Lions just marched downfield, but they did hold them on the next series. I think it was a 3-and-out, and so that was encouraging. And let me pull up real quickly, just to refresh my memory here. Okay, so the Lions come out in their second series, 4-play drive, only 20 yards. Unfortunately, the Bears come out, their offense, and their second drive, they're 3-and-out. And so they give the Lions a short field because special teams is not doing what they should be doing. And the Lions only needed 50 yards and 4 plays to get a touchdown. But then the Bears offense makes it worse. Swift with the fumble. And they were marching. They had a gain 32 yards in just 5 plays, and then Swift fumbles. Then the Lions punt. The Bears defense held them, but the Bears again turned it over with those quarterback sneaks that they couldn't pick up a first down. And then the Lions miss a field goal because the Bears defense held them on 4 plays. They gained 0 yards. And then Caleb comes out and throws that terrible interception. So that sequence of the game really put the Bears defense in a terrible spot. The offense should have taken advantage of what the defense did during that period, and then they would have been better prepared for a shootout with the Lions. But instead, it was the Lions that went on to have the shootout and the Bears just watching.
I mean, what are your sort of concerns regarding the pass rush? What do you think could be what improvements could we make to make it more effective?
Well, Dennis Allen has to, he doesn't like to blitz too often. He's one of the lowest defensive coordinators, lowest percentage in blitzing, but he's going to have to. He's going to have to change his ways to create, because Montez Sweat is not winning his one-on-ones. He's just not winning them as often as he should for a player with his talents. I got to believe the guy is working hard and so forth and trying his best, but he's frankly never been considered an elite pass rusher. He was considered an elite, well-rounded defensive end, a guy that can set the edge and also from time to time provide some pass rush help. That's who he is, but the Bears have treated him like he's a number one pass rusher and have not really found a true number one pass rusher. So that's a big problem. And then you need a push up the middle, and unfortunately Grady Jarrett, after his first 2 games, looks like he may not be the same Grady Jarrett. Mm-hmm. And Dexter Gordon has still not Dexter Gordon. No, what's his name? Jervon Dexter. Jervon Dexter has not become the player we all thought he was going to be. A 6'6", 325-pound guy with great athleticism. He's just not producing. And so those are your problems. Now, hopefully Shamar Turner, I think he's going to be back. Maybe he can provide some of that inside push. But right now, what I detect the problem is Ryan Poles. He hasn't gotten the players necessary to play in Dennis Allen's defense, where he just relies on 4 guys.
I mean, that's a really good point. I don't know, because a lot of these players have been from Eberflus's scheme, so they'd have been taught and trained and brought into the team to run that sort of scheme. Mm-hmm. I suppose I suppose as well, one of the big problems is the injuries we've got as well. Like, Kyler Gordon's a massive miss for me. Obviously, Jalen Johnson, what Foster mentions, out for the season. TJ Edwards got, hurt his hamstring again. So we've never really been at its full strength really all this season so far defensively. Well, do you think it's simply down to the quality of defensive players we have, or the scheme, Foster?
No, because I even though I'm saying about the scheme, it's just not. It's more like what Aldo's talking about, where we don't blitz, we don't send 5 guys. pull a delayed blitz. Pull it more often. It's effective on other teams. I saw it last night work really well when the linebacker waited a step and then the offensive, the guard or the center moved out of the way. He just went right and got a sack. We all thought if you watched game 1 last night, it was right in front of everybody. But I'm going to say it's a lot of it is because the offense just ain't pulling their weight. I mean, they are not pulling their weight. You can't. How many 3-and-outs or five plays and less have we had in 2 weeks? It's consistently,
but Foster,
consistently bad.
It wouldn't be Chicago football if it wasn't like that. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Bob Abilene, whatever he used to be called.
You can't do it in this day and age. You cannot do it.
Yeah, when you're not elite at any one of the 3 units of a football team, special teams, offense, and defense, you really have to rely on complementary football and taking advantage of opportunities that the defense gives the offense gives the defense, the special teams gives both of those units. You have to rely on that. We don't have the 1985 Bears defense here who can play well, even though they got the second or third string quarterback in because Jim McMahon is hurt. We have to play better complementary football, and the guys have to work harder. And frankly, Dennis Allen has to now come up with some scheming because he's not going to get the 4-man pass rush he thinks he's going to get with these guys. It's just not going to happen. And C-Dub, you mentioned the injury to Kyler Gordon. That is huge. Tomorrow's injury report is going to be huge because if Kyler Gordon is out again against those Dallas Cowboys receivers and Jalen Johnson is now out, oh boy, that's going to be bad. Yeah. Tyreek Stevenson is going to get burned, even if they may not even throw at him because the replacement at the other cornerback position is going to be even worse than Tyreek. So it could get ugly if Kyler's not there Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Tyreek had a bit of a poor game. Well, struggled in the last game quite a lot. Well, what we'll do is we'll sort of round it off regarding the game against Troy. We'll just round it off with what are your overall thoughts about the coaching so far during the season from Johnson and DC as well.
Go ahead, Foster. You're muted.
Coming in, Tooch? Yeah. Offensively, I'll just give quick grades. It'll make it easier. You know, Ben Johnson, I'm going to give him a C, and he only gets the C because of those first play scripted drives. Both games, scripted plays.
Yeah,
offense looked beautiful. We get past the scripted, not so beautiful. So I'll give him a C. And then Dennis Allen on the defense, I'm going to give him a C too, and it would be a higher grade if they weren't on the field so much. I haven't looked, but I should see how many minutes the defense has been on the field playing in the last 2 games because it's probably way too much. Special teams, I'll give them a D. We've had a few spots, but on the up and up, I mean, just what we're doing has not been. Maybe I'll give it a C because it hasn't been consistent in any way, shape, or form. I like Duvernay. I think he's decent. Not the greatest, but definitely not the worst. We've had worse. And why isn't, since Burden's not playing, why isn't Burden just back to returning more? Because he looked really good from the return position.
Yep.
When you're in a position like this, use every player's strengths to your biggest advantage because you got to get some type of edge. Yep. And that's the best way to do it is play to the strengths, man.
Yeah,
I just gave grades, although you can go into detail, man.
Yeah, you know, so these grades are for the 2-game season or just against the Lions? See that?
For the 2-game season, because I mean, I'd say these are an improvement what you probably could have seen from the first to second game, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give the special teams unit an F. And the reason why is because of that goof up in week 1 with Cairo Santos asking him to kick the ball out of the end zone. That ball should have been kicked out of bounds. That ball, there were so many other ways that they could have handled that situation. The coaching staff, Richard Hightower and Ben Johnson, really screwed that up. And Ben Johnson took the word of Richard Hightower, who asked Cairo Santos, can you kick it out of the end zone? And he said yes. So F for that effort alone. The other reason I want to give him an F is while I like the Australian punter a lot, he's not delivering 4th round value to me. He's playing like 30 of the other punters. I mean, he's ranked, in my mind, he's probably ranked 25th punter in the league. He's not doing the booming, oh my gosh, all the state of Iowa loves this guy and stuff. He's not doing anything close to that. And the other thing is on special teams, they're allowing big explosive plays to happen. So I give them an F. I give our offense a C-. And maybe I'm being generous there. I'm giving our defense a D+, and maybe I'm being a little tough on them because what I said earlier, they're not playing complimentary football. But I think that the coaching, Dennis Allen, is not being honest with himself about, hey, these guys aren't getting it done, so I got to do some better scheming. And then when he comes on and does his press conference, he doesn't want to talk about the last game. He wants to talk about that ain't going to fly here in Chicago, bro. You better talk about how you're fucking up and how you're going to fix that. And the head coach, Ben Johnson, I probably would give him a D+, C-, without getting into too much detail. I think that he's made some mistakes from a scheme standpoint. I think, even going back to training camp, I think he installed way too many things. He should have realized that Caleb, I'm not saying Caleb is stupid, but Caleb is overwhelmed. And when they had 14 practices, each with a new install, it's like, dude, bring it back. I know you love the playbook. And he even bragged about it. I'm installing more things here than I did in my first year with the Lions. You know what? You had a veteran quarterback your first year with the Lions, Ben. You could get away with a lot of installs in Detroit because you're a veteran quarterback. You got a quarterback here in Chicago who is basically learning the NFL game. You should be teaching him more about that and the mechanics of being a quarterback and blah, blah, blah. So I think for that reason, I'm giving Ben Johnson at this point of the season a D. Let's say a D.
That sounds good. That sounds fair. I mean, my sort of quick sort of look at the situation is, I think Ben Johnson's like a D. I think he's been out schemed, like you mentioned, Aldo, especially against Flores. I thought in second half they completely out schemed our offense. Also, I don't like the 4th down plays. Defense. I mean, if that scheme is working and we need to change something, which is what she's going to suit our players' strengths, and I'd probably give the defensive coordinator an E, and special teams is probably an E as well because it might be due to the new kickoff rules. That's maybe why they're giving up a few more yards, but it has been noticeably slack, and Santos really hasn't sort of set the world on fire again this year. Apart from he did kick out of bounds in the last game, so it was only a game late.
Here I wanted to go back and just ask you because I forgot all about the kick that Cairo Santos couldn't kick it out of the end zone. So if you can't kick it out of the end zone, why don't you kick it short of the box? Just let them have it at the 45, and there would have been 9 more seconds left on the clock.
Thank you. Yes,
there's a way around it.
Mm-hmm. Kick it out of bounds. I'll have it at the 40, and you still have either way. Whatever yard line they're going to end up on, you still need to get them off the field in 4 plays. So whether it was at the 30, the 35, the 40, and Ben Johnson admitted that he got greedy and wanted those 5 yards. That was dumb, Ben. That was dumb. Yeah. Now you and I, Foster, Chris, everyone in the chat knows that Cairo Santos does not have a big leg. Even after all the Brazilian steroids that he's been taking the last 2 years, he still doesn't have a big leg. So,
the trouble is, Aldo, it was putting the steroids in the wrong leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's different.
Yeah, that's right.
But my thoughts are exactly the same as yours, boys. Really about the coaching. But give me a stat bomb. Can you, Foster? A stat bomb graphics. I've got one sent.
How's the stat bomb?
So you ready for me? Hold on a second.
Yes,
Because I gotta find it again.
Come on, boys.
I got it. You go.
Right. This is Jason's stat bomb sent to me before I went on holiday today. So
awesome.
I'll go, no graphic.
Where's the graphic?
It's lucky you're in the union, Foster. You'll be getting fucked off. Right. Even though Jason's not here in person, he had to send me his stat bomb. So hopefully I'll be able to read this out for you. And Jason does this every week, and usually they're quite sort of deep, and they can even make you think about life in a different way as well. So this is from Statted.com using Pro Football Reference. And this is the stat bomb. Since the 19th Century League merger, Roma Dunzis is only the fourth best player with 3 or more touchdown catches in the first 2 games of the season. The others are Brandon Marshall in 2014 with 4 touchdowns, Martellus Bennett in 2013 with 3 touchdowns, and Matt Forte in 2010 with 3 touchdowns. In those games, the Dunzis equal Marshall's targets and receptions with 20 targets and 13 catches. And O'Dunz's 9 first downs is tied for the most in the 2 games of Martellus Bennett. Forte had the most yards in these games with 188, and Rome is second with 165. That is this week's stat bomb.
That is nice.
That's the one. That's the graphic, man. That's the one to use, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason, for sending that stat bomb all the way from up in the air somewhere. Wherever I know where you go, but we'd have to go public. So we still get your stat bomb even when the gentleman's not here. But right, let's move on to the Bears' next game against Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys came over a very entertaining 40-37 overtime game this week. QB Prescott, he got 38 out of 52 for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. What are your thoughts about the challenges the Bears defense are going to face regarding the Dallas Cowboys offense out there?
Well, they're going to have to stop the run, right? I got a stat for you. At the end of last year, the run defense was 28th in the NFL. You know where they rank after 2 weeks in 2025? 28th again. Yeah. So they're just as bad as they were last year. So they have to do better at stopping the run. The Cowboys have, I think his name is Javonte Williams as their running back, right? And he's played fairly well for them. He had, I think, 90 some yards in week 1 and 50 or 60 in week 2. So he's not a great player. This defense can't stop them, but they have to prove that they can stop the run, period. And so Billings needs to come up big. All the interior defensive linemen have to come up big. And so that's, to me, the number one concern. Yes, the Cowboys' passing attack can be explosive with CeeDee Lamb and remind me who the other receiver is. Yes. George Pickens, the former Steeler. So they are big, and with our banged up defensive backfield, that could be a problem. Play action could be a problem. So we'll see. The Bears defense will have to play better. They'll have to be better schemed in order to have success against the Cowboys. I'm glad the game is in Soldier Field because hopefully the crowd can be our 12th man and make it harder on that offense, the Cowboys offense.
What are
your thoughts, Foster?
I'm just going to jump in where all because he's dead on, man. Javonte Williams has performed better than people thought. CeeDee Lamb and Pickens and Sanders out of the backfield's been effective. Not
Sanders
first week, but last week he was. we have to stop the run and force them to pass. And then I worry, are we going to be capable of slowing down this passing game? Because I think we can stop the run, but our defense sure hasn't shown it. Like you said, Aldo, we're 28th. What were we after the first 5 or 6 games last year? I think we were like 10th in the league against the run. And then Billings went down, which was, I'm not saying it's all Billings, but if you look at it from when he went down, the run defense just went
ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So it's critical to stop that run game, and they're going to have their hands full because they might activate. They got another kid, Blue, Jaden
Blue, yes, speedster, one of the fastest guys at the combine, yes,
and he hasn't even played yet.
He hasn't.
Because he had an injury and he was behind.
All right, but he might play Sunday.
He might be available for this game, and I sure hope he's not.
I agree.
They've got enough problems to deal with already. To throw the speedster like that in the backfield is just it's gonna make it even tougher, man. And it's already getting tough enough because that offense is better than people think.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, regarding our receiving, I mean, in the last game, Lamb got 9 receptions for 112 yards. Pickens got 5 for 68 and TD. Ferguson got 9 for 70 yards. So even if we manage to stop their running game down, it's going to put a lot of pressure on our defensive backs. Just due to how injury ridden we are, and just a sort of form run as well. Especially Stevenson, who's just in such bad form. But yeah, I mean their defense just. What do you reckon to their defense against our offense, Aldo?
Well, the Cowboys gave up 450 yards passing to Russell Wilson. I think the net was 422 because they did have 3 sacks on him. So if Russell Wilson can pass for over 400 yards against the Cowboys defense, then Caleb Williams should be able to pass for 300.
Absolutely.
Better be, especially all those weapons. And of course, with Micah Parsons gone from Dallas, they don't have the pass rush that they used to. It's going to be harder to run on the Cowboys than it is to pass. So I expect there to be a lot of passing in this game by the Bears offense, and they should have success against this Cowboys defense because they have not played well after 2 games.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I hope they come out. I hope the offense comes out with short passes and not trying to run right away.
Yeah.
I was hoping Roshan would be healthy. If you notice what the Vikings did was they didn't have Aaron Jones out there running most of the plays. They had a bigger guy in Mason.
Yes.
And the offensive line was just bowling us over, and they were just taking 5-7 yards anytime they wanted running.
Yeah.
I think they at one point they were averaging 6.6 yards a run.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, you're not going to lose. You're going to score every time you get the ball.
I mean, I don't think you foster regarding like running backs. I mean, I know we've gone through this before, but is it Britain who was on the practice squad?
Yes.
Played in the season. I was quite impressed by what he played in pre-season.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely yin and yang to sort of Swift. In his running style. He's definitely like a north-south. Bring the load sort of running back. So I'm quite surprised that they brought him up from the practice squad. So how do you think Caleb's going to do then against the Cowboys defense?
I think he's going to have a good day. I really do. And I'm saying this more as a fan than as an analyst. I just feel like there's going to be some progression here. I've seen, inklings that he's getting better. If he can, relax and focus, I think he's going to have a good game against this Cowboys pass defense. And he's got the weapons. Hopefully, I don't think the Cowboys are going to manufacture much of a pass rush. If they do against the Bears this week, then we may not win a game for till 2026.
Don't say that out. I thought you were going to say something up on the new stadium.
That would have been funnier.
I'm thinking none of us 3 on the screen is going to be alive by then.
Really, for sure.
I will be.
Foster gonna live another 200 years, you Dracula.
Got to suffer as a Bears fan.
Foster, any more thoughts about the Cowboys game coming up?
I'm just going to say, I've seen here, so I don't care if progress is like this big or like this. As long as it's being made on a weekly basis. Like I said, I hope they start off more of a short passing game and not. If they line up and they run Swift in between the guard and the tackle, I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what that's almost what you always expect.
I
just don't see them as being capable. I'm going to say that Caleb's going to have a better game, and it's not going to be perfect, but I want to see a little more progress because there kind of has been some progress from week to week. I mean, it hasn't been the greatest, and it hasn't been consistent. But hopefully he makes more progress. I'm hoping he's working really hard on this game and trying to work on this because I always say my only problem is in life is right here. It's the way I perceive, the way I think, the way I act and react to situations. And that's what Caleb's got to do. Go ahead, Chris.
Foster's a lot more to it than just that, mate, I'm telling you. There's a lot more than what's just in there, Foster. Mate, come on.
That's funny.
But
I'm hoping
right,
for that, man.
We'll get to like a tricky part of the show, really, predictions. I mean, I've been saying a lot about, perhaps in every game this season, even though we're only 2 games in that, this is a page-turning, game that, but a bit like when we saw the Bears play the Jags at Wembley last year, or at Whitehall End, last year. That like a bit of a statement game, and then it all just went to shit after that. The funniest thing about that is that I did a show, Aldo, with you and Dan, and we were all so positive. And it was the week running up to the Washington game, and we were going, "Oh yeah," and it's so funny. Like, I've watched it a few times since last season, and you're just thinking, am I that gullible? Can I not read the game that much? We were so certain.
Yes.
We were so like, this is the steps being taken now, and Caleb's. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So anyway, my prediction is that we're playing a team what isn't as good as the 2 teams we just played. I think people forget about that. We played the Vikings who were 4-3, and did the Vikings only lose 2? Not the Vikings, sorry, the Lions. Did they only lose 2 games last year? Regular season games, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's like the top of the top, what we've already played. And I don't think Dallas are at their level. And I just feel like it's at home. We've got to turn the page, man. So I'm going to go the Bears 24, the Cowboys 21.
I like that score. Go ahead, Foster.
What's your Foster?
I'm going 24-17 Dallas.
Ooh.
Oh, man. Come on, dude.
This is the game I have the Bears winning. If you go back and look at the BC chart, I just don't. They don't have enough together still. They still don't. I hope, by God, I am so blind and so wrong. What I've watched, I've unfortunately I've gotten to watch 2 Dallas games and 2 Bears games, and the Cowboys are better than the Bears. That's my opinion. Just my opinion.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Come on, man.
And I know you're keeping it real. And I don't know if you're on north side, south side, or east side. What are you, Foster?
I'm just being realistic.
I respect
it's what I see and what I feel. Go ahead.
Of course, because there's no point telling porkies anyway. What's your prediction? I didn't know if you were going to say it's early in the week for you, but what's your feelings out there?
I'm going to continue to act like a fan who is expecting the team to get better and play better. And I predicted they would be 2-2 going into the bye. So they got to win these next 2 games. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Bears will win 38-31. I think Caleb will throw for 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think that the running game will be a substantial part of the why the Bears will win. And I think that the Bears defense, while it won't have a great game, will get a couple of turnovers to help make a shorter field for the Bears offense. And this time the Bears offense will take advantage of the short field that the defense gives them. So that's my hope as a Bears fan. But to be, truth to God, I think Foster is probably right.
The thing is, I was like that really regarding the short game. Even though I predicted the Bears to win, my head was going, we're not going to win. But for this reason, that reason, I just kept going with like my fan heart, if you know what I mean. But
absolutely.
I think. But the thing is, it's just sort of this year. I'm just try to take it in a positive manner regarding the Bears. Even if we struggle this year, I'm just going to put it like we said at the start of the show, there's other things in life to get worried about, and it's just a bonus that, I'm into such a great sport and one of the best clubs in the NFL regarding history, and not just that, but also how it's affected my life the last 4 years, Started doing the podcast, coming to Chicago, meeting everybody, getting really drunk at outdoors. But I did win that competition. At least I didn't piss in your bushes like Shorty.
Thank you very much.
Here's always next time.
The Bears have brought a lot to me, man, and I'm very sort of thankful for that. But what we'll do is we'll wrap the show up. And we'll do shout outs. I'll start with shout out. I just want to say thanks to people in the chat. Thank you, Aldo, for being our first ever guest on the British Bears Show. It's been a massive honour, man, and it feels like when in Star Wars: A New Hope, when Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi first see each other, and he goes, "Now the circle is complete. Now I am the master."
Yes, you are.
That feels really weird. But yeah, sort of everybody in the chat. Foster, thank you for producing, mate, and bringing your wisdom to the affairs. And let's hope the Bears can turn it around and everybody have a good week. And that's my show. Oh, yeah, you can catch me on Sunday at the Barfly Tailgate Show, 10 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock British time. I'll be on that with the boys. But anything you want to sort of shout out with anything, Aldo?
Well, I want to shout out BCP, and all the work that you guys are doing is so good. I mean, you guys are a testament to, putting together a network from scratch. And I don't know, I think the last time I looked, you guys had a couple of thousand subscribers. You got really loyal followers, and that's the way to build a podcast. You see some of these other podcasters struggle, and I think it's, they can get take a lesson from Foster, you, Chris, and Mr. Shorty, and the rest of the people behind this operation. It's perseverance, it's dedication to putting out a good product, and it's about having fun. I mean, that's number one. Absolutely.
Well, the things that we learned from the best man, not with you.
I appreciate it.
Honestly, like, I just remember like coming across like Bare Your Souls. I know I keep bringing it up, but it was just something like, man, I really like. It wasn't just like I was interested in the conversation. It was more like, I really like these people. I really like these guys. I really like what you mentioned about life and just how you are, and obviously that led to for me meeting you and Dan at your house. And I can't believe, Aldo, that we didn't get a photograph together.
I know.
Yeah, never did it, man.
I know.
I've got a nice photo of me and Foster. It's really funny. The photograph of me and Foster in your garden. I think we've not been there very long. I look quite pristine. Hair's looking quite normal. And then the photo of like, there's a photo next to me and John Ford, and I'm absolutely sweating. Drunk out to like a nice before and after. But it's just been awesome having you on the show, mate. And anything you want to say, Foster, like any shout outs?
No, I just want to thank you guys for being here. And I again, you know what, Aldo, this probably doesn't happen if it's not for you. This show,
exactly.
I'm serious, because we all met on the Barroom Network.
I met Foster in the chat. That's why I met Foster firstly, we're in the chat of your shows and the Barfly Terrier show. He got to know Foster, and then because Foster were using a picture of himself when he was quite young, and then when I first saw you, I was like, "Fucking hell! What? Is he had a really hard life or something?"
I was thinking the same thing.
And that picture, guys, is only from about 4 years ago. And look at me now.
That's what I mean.
It definitely had like an old Kodak feel,
Yeah.
60s and 70s. And he's wearing this cool hat, And I'm thinking to myself, man, he can't be that young, right? And then finally, I met him. I go, yeah, I knew there was something fishy going on.
A quick question to ask you two guys from Chicago. What was Chicago like in the 1980s compared to what it is now?
Well, I from as a Bears fan, in the early 80s, we got Mike Ditka.
Like life in general, like just as a city was going down, what it like a bit of, well, you know what I mean? Like what would it like? Because you'd have been in your 80s, you'd have been like in your 20s for early 30s?
I was in my 20s in the 80s, and it was a good time for me. My career was really taking off. I was working at CBS here in Chicago, doing a lot of traveling and stuff. So the 80s were fun. The only bad thing about the 80s was all the money I blew on cocaine. It's true.
Well, cocaine, lawyers, and women.
So that could have been a motive to sum up Chicago in the 80s, then that all.
I'll tell you this though, you know what? Things like people got along better.
Yeah.
From my experience, people got along better because
there's no social media.
Yeah, there's no social media, and then like the late 70s, the 70s, and the first 7-8 years of the 80s were just like the greatest time to be alive in my mind, because nobody kept anybody down for anything. I mean, there might have been some dumb stuff here and there, but it's not the same as when I go to like Menards or a store, Jewel or something here. Just the people around are not the same.
Wow.
Nobody says hello. Nobody.
Yeah.
It's
well. I mean,
people are not as nice, or maybe they're just more concerned about who they're talking to. But it's just not the same world. It's not the same world.
What you need to do, Foster, is come over here to Yorkshire, because we're renowned for being friendly. Like the further north you go in our country, in England, the more friendly people get. And obviously, I'm like northeast England, so we're renowned for being quite friendly and chatty and stuff like that. But right, cool boys. So get ready for the end title to go on, Foster, and we'll leave with a big fat bear down. Bear down, everybody.
Bear down.
Wait, I gotta find it. Bear down. I found it. It just takes forever.
Producing is hard.
Well, it's not reacting because I've hit it.
Keep talking. No, that's fair.
Yeah, keep going because it's not working.
Hey, 55 tonight, 8 p.m.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Watch the replay if you're not up, for those of you people across the pond, and then tomorrow, Bear Their Souls, the show that C-Dub talked about. I got a great effing open for tomorrow's Bear Their Souls. It's one of my better videos, so check it out.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Foster, you ready?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to try the old one because this one ain't working. We'll see what happens. So, bear down. Thanks everybody in the chat for showing up.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
We are bears. We are bears. We are bears. British Bears, the British Bears, the British Bears.